Hey guys, welcome to the Opinionated Outcasts podcast, where me, Mark, and Senpai talk about our nerdy opinions. In today's episode, we have episode 2, which is about my personal favorite subject that we're probably going to have, Spider-Man. Okay, now I've been a long-time Spider-Man. I've been collecting the comic books for years. Mark.
You weren't bitten by a radioactive spider, so you're not a Spider-Man. You're a Spider fan.
I'm Spider-Gan.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, But yeah, no, I've been a longtime fan of the comic series, and I've seen all the movies. I've played most of the games, and we're here to talk about our thoughts of how the Spider-Verse movie was, the game was, and the live action movies were, and just our overall thoughts of Spider-Man. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into what's up.
I wanted to start us off with. I wanted to ask everybody. What's your favorite Spider-Man, honestly?
Insomniac Spider-Man. Because...
Are you talking about Insomniac is the...
PS4.
Okay,
yeah. Okay, so basically, when it comes to Spider-Man is a character, it's always focusing on that... What's the word? Spider-Man, him becoming Spider-Man is an allegory. It's an allegory for growing up. Pretty much, essentially what it is that Spider-Man is a teenager, he's an outcast, and he gets thrust into this world of responsibility, and he has to learn how to become a better person and how to live with his new powers. Much like growing up, you get thrust into a new world, you have to learn how to do a job, get a career, and it's an allegory for the youth. It's meant to identify with teenagers. That's why he has a mask, because they want teenagers to reflect themselves on Spider-Man. Now, what they did with Spider-Man PS4, I think I can spoil it now. It's been several months. They took that element and they gave a older Peter Parker. He's in his early 20s. He's 23 years old. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years. So what they did is that they took that core concept of Spider-Man and they pushed it further. Because Spider-Man learned the responsibility of being a superhero. He learned how to be a superhero. You know what I mean? Like he learned how. Yeah. So now that he knows that, he has to apply it, and how it's applied in the game. This is at least what I take from it, at the very least. What I take from the game is that the underlining theme of it is sacrifice. If you play through it, there's a lot of Jefferson Davis sacrifices himself for the city. Dr. Octavius sacrifices his sanity to keep his body. Spider-Man has to sacrifice his aunt for New York City. Mr. Lang sacrifices his entire life to get revenge. It's a story of revenge and sacrifice, and Spider-Man has to learn how to let things go, and he has to learn that his responsibility must come first. That he has to be the hero. That Spider-Man's responsibility and the responsibility he holds is more important than Peter Parker. Which is showcased by the way that how he walks away from Dr. Octavius. You can see the way they animated it was beautiful. You can see the pain in Peter Parker's eyes as he looks at his mentor, who he looked up to his entire childhood, sitting there in a broken shell with broken arms. And he's just a shell of a man. And he's begging Peter to save him, and he's begging him for help. And he stands there. And he makes a decision to leave him. He did the right thing. He applied his responsibility. He did the right thing. He became the hero. And then the same thing with the very beautiful ending scene, the heart-wrenching ending scene where he has to sacrifice Aunt May. He has the serum in his hand.
God rest her soul.
God rest her soul. But he has the serum in his hand, and he's going to save her life, and then he realizes that if he used that little bit of serum to save her life, they couldn't make more to save the city. So you can see as Peter tries to do it. Like he goes and he's real close to inserting it, but he pushes away and he lets her go.
He tries to, and then he physically cannot. Like you can see, he's physically struggling. You can see the conflict in his face and the pain. That's how
It's
you know
beautifully
that
animated.
Peter Parker is a true hero of the people, though, because instead of having to force himself to not give it to her, he tries to force himself to give it to her, and he can't.
But he cannot. So, I believe the overall story of Spider-Man PS4 is Peter Parker understands the responsibility of being a hero, but now he's learned how to be a hero. Which is it's beautiful.
Real quick, Gump, can you put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this episode? Because we're probably going to spoil a lot of things that have to do with Spider-Man.
But yeah, I definitely think just overall that Peter Parker feels the realest to me. Like you genuinely see like his emotions and his conflicts, and you can feel like when you play as Spider-Man and Peter Parker respectively in the game, they feel like two different people, which is what it's supposed to be. Because when Spider-Man puts on that mask, actually, I'm going to save that for later down the line for Spider-Verse, so just shut me up. Just go.
Okay.
Go, Senpai. Where's Mark, whatever.
Okay. My favorite Spider-Man has to be, I gotta go with my boy, Spider-Ham. Because
oh my god, how did I low-key know you were gonna pick him?
Spider-Ham.
Because he obsesses over Spider-Ham?
No, I'm not even lying. Spider-Ham is the strongest spider person in the entire universe. In Spider-Geddon, he's always the one to lead every spider into the attack.
What about Spider UK?
Okay, shut up about Spider UK. I don't care about Spider UK. I care about Spider.
But he's stronger than Spider-Ham, though.
No, he isn't. Spider UK is gay.
Yes, he is.
Spider UK is more like Spider Gay, okay? Shut up.
Whoa, bro, that's not cool. Spider UK is Chad.
Spider UK is just the British version of Peter Parker.
No, it's more than that.
More like Spider you gay. Ooh.
Anyways, I don't agree with you, Mark. You're losing me here.
I love Spider-Ham because, first off, what they did with him in Spider-Verse, voicing him by John Mulaney, fucking perfect.
Oh my god.
It was. We'll get the Spider-Verse. We'll get the Spider-Verse in a minute. Okay.
And I loved his portrayal in Spider-Verse because I think it really definitely did do well. And Spider-Ham as an entire character is just the most goofiest. He's the most goofiest spider person in my opinion. Yet he's also the most serious.
I could see that. I could see that.
I'm gonna get to Spider-Verse soon, and spoiler warning for that. But the ending of how he did it just proves that he's actually sentimental and serious, or not sentimental, goofy, serious, sentimental, and all that in the same kind of person.
That's all, folks.
He
just dives to the portal.
I like how after he says that, Peter Parker is like, is he allowed to say that legally?
Is that legal?
Is that legal?
All right, what about you, Senpai? Who's your favorite Peter Parker?
Okay.
Your favorite Spider-Man, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I have two favorites. One simply based off design, the other one of his actual story.
That's fair. Okay.
My favorite design-wise is the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, simply because it's very simplistic, and it looks like someone could actually make.
All right, Senpai.
His story's gonna be Penny Parker. I bet you $20.
Hold on, just give me a second. No,
genuine.
Pause. Listen, Senpai. Listen.
What?
This is why I bully you, because you sat here and unironically said that the Scarlet Spider uniform was cool. I just want everyone to know.
I like it. I think it's because of I'm very biased because I love hoodies. Okay. And I like how he has his web canisters around his wrists and his ankles.
Okay. That thing reeks more 90s edge than a 3 Days Grace song.
I know, and I love it. But anyway,
okay,
legitimately, no joking around, my favorite Spider-Man as far as his story and personality goes, I absolutely love Spider-Man Noir.
That's a good one. I like
Very
Spider-Man
genuine.
also.
I love
His,
Spider-Man.
I loved his intro into Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I love how he's voiced by Nick Cage.
After the death of my Uncle Benjamin, I now go underground and fight Nazis. I now go underground.
God.
I sometimes even light a torch just to get a little bit of a feeling of anything.
God. But
I love how he takes the Rubik's Cube even though he can't even see color.
No,
Yeah,
seriously, though. Nicolas Cage does a very good job as Spider-Man
Very.
Noir.
Very good job.
As much as a meme it was, he did a really good job.
He did.
Okay.
He did. He genuinely did.
All right, boys. Let's move on to Spider-Verse now, since we're all antsy to talk about it.
Okay. Can I
Alright.
start it off?
Yes, you can,
Let
buddy.
me start
Yes,
it
you
off.
can.
All right.
Don't talk about Penny Parker.
He was
Okay,
gonna
just
say
making sure.
Well, she's part of the movie. We have to
Just-
talk about her.
Let me address her because you're over 18. So I got you.
All right. So Dan. Okay. First off, First of all, Into the Spider-Verse is a beautiful movie, from its art style to its animation. It is
That's
a
the
beautiful
same thing, you
movie.
fucking moron.
Yo, stop, that's my job bullying him. Shut the fuck up, Mark. Keep going.
But it's a beautiful movie. For those of you who, for some reason, haven't seen the movie or even a single screenshot of it, first of all, drop what you're doing and go watch the movie right now.
It's worth
Come
the money.
come back, and then listen to this. So, the animation makes it look like it's ripped straight out of a comic book, like you're watching a comic book. And from everything from, you get the actual like onomatopoeia things where it goes pow and bam and kaboom, and you get like the thought bubbles and speech bubbles. Like, it's fucking amazing.
I'm gonna go second.
Okay.
Because as a huge Spider-Man nerd like myself, the thing that I appreciated the most from it is the story. And the story, it really knocks to the term that what Stan Lee used to praise about Spider-Man is that anybody can be Spider-Man. There's no reason that Peter Parker was Spider-Man other than the fact that he was thrown into that situation. Anybody can be Spider-Man because at its core, the original story of Spider-Man was Steve Ditko's writing. Peter Parker was a nerd. He was a lonely nerd who was bullied and an outcast, and he got thrown into this world of superpowers. And the way that Spider-Man's written is that when Peter Parker puts on the mask, Spider-Man is everything that Peter Parker wants to be. He's strong, he's confident, he's the hero, he's praised by everybody, for the most part, besides like J. Jonah Jameson and stuff. Like, he gets praised, like he's everything Spider-Man wants to be. Yeah, everything Peter Parker wants to be. And the way that I saw it is that Spider-Man is your ideal self. Everybody has like an ideal version or a dream they want to aspire to. And if you learn the responsibility, and if you're confident and you always get back up, like how it's mentioned in the movie, Spider-Man always gets back up. Spider-Man's strong, he always gets back up. If you always get back up, and if you keep trying, and if you put that mask on and try to be the person you want to be, you can be it. Which is beautiful. It is really nice and sweet story note, and that's reflected by the duality between Miles Morales in the movie and Peter Parker. Peter Parker is a Spider-Man who's lost his way. He's depressed. He's lost his life, and he's
bring that up.
But he's lost his way, and he has to relearn how to be Spider-Man. He has to relearn how to be his best self. And Miles is a boy who's growing up, and he wants to be Spider-Man. He wants to be the hero. He wants to take Peter Parker's place, and he keeps getting back up. He doesn't let anything get him down, and he becomes Spider-Man. He becomes the best person he could be, and it's a great story. And that's, you can tell that movies like Spider-Verse and games like Spider-Man PS4 are more than just products. But they're more than just like, let me advertise Sony stuff in this movie. It's they're passion projects at the very least. Like, they're passion projects. You can tell there's genuine love and understanding coming. Which is why I strongly support fan movies and fan art and fan stories and stuff because no one's going to understand the character more than the fans. Like, if you put me and some Hollywood exec who's never touched a comic book in their life into the same room and we write a basic bio of Spider-Man from looking at some pictures and giving some basic information, you know damn well I'd make the better bio. He might write the better movie because that's his talent, but I would understand the character a lot more. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Mark. I'll let you.
I was gonna say, like, the connection between the characters and the characters in general, they all have their little slice of differences, but they're all genuinely almost in the same boat. Like,
anybody could be Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. It goes through that because they abandoned him, and through that abandonment, and like they said, all it takes is a leap of faith. That whole lesson teaches him that it is truly anybody can be Spider-Man. It just is a chance of you getting picked. It's a simple thrown into it scenario.
It brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
Anyways, Senpai, you got something to say? Whoa. Blow your roll. Relax, dude. Relax, dude. All right.
Yeah. Cut me off again, Dad.
Baby back, bitch. Go ahead.
I'll cut this recording just like I'll cut you first.
Whoa, edit that out. That was fucking weird. Anyways, go ahead.
No. But, the characters each one has their own personality, yet, like I said, they're all genuinely almost the same person. For example, let's compare Spider-Man, the normal Spider-Man, to Miles Morales, like you said. He lost his way and he lost everything that he held dear. And he lost how do I say it? The charge or the passion to be Spider-Man. And he just doesn't want that anymore. But with Miles, he's an up and coming student. He's just like Peter Parker. He's a nerd, yet he ends up being the hero like he always wanted in the end. And of course, we have Spider-Ham, my boy, saying that's all, folks, after the movie's over, because you have to end it right.
God. Is that all? Is that all, Mark?
Yes, that is.
That's all, folks. All right,
and of course, we need to talk about the after credits scene.
Oh my god. That was really funny. I always love when people kind of make jokes about the 60s Spider-Man because it's so campy and it's so silly that it's so easy. God, but yeah, that was funny. I think
basically the after credit scene of Into the Spider-Verse is in the comics of Spider-Verse. The 2099 Spider-Man gets like this little watch thing that he uses to travel between the different universes of Spider-Man. And in the movie, he gets that. And the first thing he does, he travels to the universe which holds the 1960s Spider-Man. And when they pop in, if you all remember that Spider-Man meme of the two Spider-Men pointing at each other, just imagine that, but the Spider-Man facing you is 2099. Jeez. And they're yelling at each other like, why are you pointing at me? What do you mean you pointed at me first? No, you were pointing first. That's basically the entire after credit scene.
It was funny. That's always fun to see the 60s Spider-Man get some nice little jokes in. I think my favorite to the 60s Spider-Man is that when they were in the Spider-Verse comics, where they Miles Morales and the Ultimate cartoon Spider-Man went back in time, and Miles took off his mask, and it was like, and the 60s Spider-Man was like all surprised, and it looked like he was about to say you're black. He goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe it, you're," and then it cut. And then the next page, it's like you're so young. But they tried to make it seem like he was trying to say, like he was like racist because he's old-timey. Yeah, it was funny.
The one thing I really love about the Spider-Verse comics is that when you meet the different Spider-Men, they have the same quirks and stuff that they do in their own respective shows. Like Ultimate Spider-Man talks to the people a lot.
Yeah, and
which is funny as hell. And then like they talk about like, does he do that often? And they're like, all the time.
I just saw the.
and then what about the Japanese?
And then the
Spider-Man?
Japanese Spider-Man comes in with his fucking Megazord.
God,
Like he's a goddamn Power Ranger.
Deadass Penny Parker is the prequel to Power Rangers.
stop.
Yes, and of course we have to talk about Penny Parker.
All right, skip.
We're
Yeah,
not going to
skip.
talk about.
We're not
that.
touching that. The internet's been all over that. We're not touching it.
Penny
Yeah,
Parker
not
is
even.
the best spider person ever.
All right, why do we have-
As an anime girl.
Why do we have Mark and like on
I
here?
don't know. But anyway,
But anyways, I think the close off Spider-Verse is the animation was really good too, because you could tell like characters like Penny Parker, they gave her like
she
stereotypical
moves
anime.
like has an animation to her, and
Yeah, like
Spider-Man looks like he comes ripped straight out of a Looney Tunes episode.
and Spider-Man Noir was ripped out of a black and white. He has like the whole grainy black and white thing over him. It's cool. It's great. The voice acting's great. It's just a good movie. It really is. I think maybe the pacing drags just a little bit towards the middle, but like you forget about it because it's everything else is so fucking good. So it's good.
All right, let's speed through these next few bits. So first of all, let's talk about our introductions to Spider-Man, when and how we first learned of Spider-Man and our love for him grew. So Mark, you go first.
Okay, so I was. I'm gonna tell you all this. I'm just gonna tell you all this now. I was born in the very early 2000s, so I never got to see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans when they were coming out. And I believe the first one came out around 2003, right?
2002.
2002. Okay. So, yeah, I didn't get to see them when I was growing up, but my parents introduced them to me because my dad, he thought that it would be cool to show me, even though he doesn't like comics and stuff like that. He thought it would be cool because as a child, he liked comics and so on, and, you know, it's just a part of growing up that you're introduced to stuff like this. But, he showed me this, and that really sparked my passion for Spider-Man. I lost interest in it recently, but after I saw Spider-Verse, I got a bunch of childhood, like, euphoria to see it again and go through it again. I had, as a child, when I was like 6, 7, I lived in my old neighborhood. I had the costumes, I had the action figures, I had the fake web, spitters, the one that had like silly string. Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember those.
I had everything Spider-Man. And I thought I was the coolest person when I would literally crawl on the floor and pretend I was crawling up a building. I thought I was an absolute lad. And that's what really I loved about Spider-Man. Like, you know, he was powerful, he was a nerd, yet he was cool. And I didn't understand this at first, yet now that I'm looking at it, I can figure out why it's so charming of a character. And then you get to, it's like seeing those jokes in those old cartoons you used to watch, and then catching the dirty jokes that they made that you didn't understand as a child.
Yeah, I think personally, the reason why Spider-Man is loved by just so many people, I think it's just because I think pretty much anybody can see themselves as Peter Parker, because Peter Parker just has so many qualities that so many people can relate to. You know, he's not this like rich and powerful person like Iron Man. He's just a regular guy. Just a regular kid that lives in New York, and he lives with his aunt and his uncle. You know, he's a nerd that goes to high school. I mean, that's something anybody can, from kids to adults.
Yeah. I think my first introduction was the Raimi movies. My dad showed me them when I was younger. And I ate that up, especially Spider-Man 3. I used to love the black suit Spider-Man. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah,
but
I had that costume. That was my favorite.
But there was that, and a best friend of mine growing up was obsessed with Spider-Man. And like all on his wall, he had like a bunch of Spider-Man stickers, and he had Spider-Man games on his original Xbox. And we used to sit there and play Halo 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man on his original Xbox all day, and it was fun. It was really fun.
Nice. It's my turn now. Now,
yes, it is, bud.
A total. There's two factors that really got me into Spider-Man. The first one is of course, I saw the original Spider-Man, the one with Tobey Maguire, and I thought,
That's because you're fucking old.
Spider-Man is so cool. Yes, I am, Dan. Thank you for reminding me. But anyway, and so along with that, I owned an original PlayStation 1, and my mom saw how much I loved the movie, and so she sought out a video game for me, and she got me the Spider-Man for PS1, which was beautiful, and I loved it. And since that day forth, I have watched every Spider-Man movie. I've played every Spider-Man video game. Yes, every Spider-Man video game.
I heard the PS1 Spider-Man was really good. Like, really.
It's so good.
I believe it was the first one to have like the swinging from buildings mechanic.
No, that was Spider-Man 2.
Nope, that was Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, you swing from the fucking sky.
Yeah, and that one and the first movie tie-in game.
That's so horrible.
You just swing from the sky. And in Spider-Man 2, we had actual web swinging mechanics, and that has changed how Spider-Man video games
They're
work.
so good in the PS4. You feel like there's actual weight to it, man.
Yes,
it's so
you
good.
do. Oh my god.
So good, man. Anyways, let's close this out by talking about our opinions on the movies.
Okay, so I'll go first.
Let me. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Or let Dan. Which one?
I'll do it. I'll go first because I'm the chat here. But anyways,
that's debatable.
Yes, sure, buddy. That's why your name's Senpai. Anyways, as I was saying, I think, in all honesty, the Tobey Maguire movies, they were all good. They all accomplished something. They were all kind of accomplishing this whole an aspect of Spider-Man, and it's just growth. Because Spider-Man and Peter Parker are both growing in this. The first movie, he's been brought into Spider-Man. He learns how to be Spider-Man. Like, he learns the responsibility. Then the second movie, he has to learn to apply that responsibility and balance out his life. He has to learn the duality between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, which is an important part of Spider-Man's like folklore. And the final one, he has to learn how to bounce back from being the hero. He has to learn, because doesn't he begin Spider-Man 3 like quitting Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Or is that Spider-Man 2?
I think it was that cringy walk.
No, that's not. That's when he was like, well, no, he has to relearn how to be Spider-Man. So like, it's all like it all has to deal with a lesson that Spider-Man has to go through, and it's all really well written. I like it a lot. For the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they're not good. They're not bad. The second one's pretty bad. I remember seeing the second one in theaters. I have a poster of it that I got from the movie theater, which is cool. But they're
stole from the movie theater.
No. I asked for it and they gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then I took it without asking. But so there was
I asked for it and then I took it without asking.
Yeah. But they were definitely products. They were trying to keep hold of the rights for it. So they were very rushed, and they had potential, but they were so rushed, and there was no love for it. So they're just kind of shells of movies. They're just products, which is.
Wait, are you talking about the Sam Raimi right now?
No. The second series.
Oh, the Amazing Spider-Man. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Tobey Maguire movies. I was about to say.
Andrew Garfield wasn't too bad. Tobey Maguire was a really good Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was a really, really good Spider-Man. Besides, he was just a little bit of a cocky prick sometimes.
He was a little bit. I mean, so is Spider-Man, but I think he was just.
He was a little bit too cocky. Yeah, he was kind of an asshole. And Homecoming Spider-Man, Tom Holland is a he's a really, really good Spider-Man and Peter Parker, a young one at the very least. I just feel like he's being held back by the MCU. I feel like if he was in a solo Spider-Man trilogy or something, he'd be like damn perfect. But he's being held back because he has to fit in the MCU. So a lot of his like key story points, like the whole Osborn drama, where he accidentally kills his best friend's dad, and his best friend hates Spider-Man. It's the whole duality thing. But
we haven't seen that much of Spider-Man, to be honest. I mean, we've seen a little bit in Civil War, but that movie
we're
wasn't
not going to. So
that's
that's the thing. We're not going to because he has to fit in the MCU, which is not bad.
We can though. That's the thing. We could get that.
No. It's no.
Because here's the thing. Let me explain it to you real quick.
All right. Take me to school then.
Spider-Man, as far as the MCU goes, has only gotten one movie, Homecoming, which was our introduction to Spider-Man, to Peter Parker, and somewhat a bit of his life. So, of course, we're not going to get all this introduction about the bad guys and his life before, because they just wanted to jump in and say, hey, this guy is Spider-Man. They don't want to give us an origin story because we've heard it a million times over by now.
Okay, Big Shot. Explain this, Big Shot. Okay. So, every single superhero, or most superheroes in the MCU have trilogy movies. They have had a trilogy of movies. The second Spider-Man is being created. Okay?
Yeah.
There has been no mention. Yeah. There has been no mention nor any side of Norman Osborn. How the hell are you going to compact the plot of the Norman Osborn, that whole storyline, into one movie?
Okay, well here's
which I would argue the Norman Osborn storyline is a very important one in Spider-Man's history. I mean, you don't have to follow it, but like, it's still like really important and a really important milestone.
Just because we haven't met Norman Osborn yet doesn't mean
not
we
happening.
aren't going to.
It's not happening. It is not happening.
Why? Do you think it's not going to happen because we haven't heard about it yet?
It's not happening. I guarantee it. I'll bet
Come
money.
on, be honest, man. Do you really think they're going to take Spider-Man?
I'm going to bet the remainder of my college tuition that I've put into this podcast that it won't happen.
Senpai, the only thing I don't like is that the Spider-Man now that fits into the MCU is more of a Tony Stark Jr. and not Peter Parker.
That's debatable.
He's really not Iron Man.
I think he's a good
all.
Peter Parker. Like, the lesson that he learns at Homecoming is a good and valuable lesson. And it's a Spider-Man lesson, but he's just held back by the MCU, man. It's unfortunate. All those superheroes have a lot more potential they could have that are being held back by the MCU. And it's unfortunate. It really is. I wish. But it's a cinematic universe. They can only do so much. So many movies can be made. So I understand the shortcuts they're taking. And it's not bad. I'm not hating on the MCU. I think it's getting a little stale. And I kind of wish the MCU would reset and be smaller and more grounded.
Well, I mean, if Endgame is going where we think we are, I think we're going to hit our reset pretty soon.
I hope so. But we'll talk more about this in the Marvel episode.
But my final thing about MCU Spider-Man. Honestly, he is one of my favorite incarnations of Peter Parker. Because, I mean, a lot of his, like Mark said, one of the biggest complaints I hear is that he's pretty much Iron Man Jr., which I don't agree with personally. Like, I think a lot of people where they get that from is because Stark made his suit. And to me, if anything, that makes it a bit more realistic. Because now let me explain that. That's because within the most things, Spider-Man makes his own suit. Like, that's his character. Like, he's so smart, he can make it himself.
Senpai, the complaint is that the suit is over-reliant on technology. That's not Spider-Man. Because the suit's
full made by Stark.
It's still, but like, no one's ever really. It could easily be explained. Spider-Man suit could easily be explained.
Do you know how brilliant Karen is to Spider-Man?
It is. It's a good writing mechanic.
Because in the comics, we can get thought bubbles and see what's going on inside Spider-Man's head.
And the moving eyes.
You can't get that. So he just tells everything to Karen. It's a brilliant way for us to get exposition and make it seem natural.
It's good writing, and so is the eyes. The moving eyes is okay. But I still understand the whole fact of the over-reliance of technology and all these like kill modes and stuff. His powers don't feel earned, basically, is what they're trying to say. Like, it doesn't feel like Spider-Man. He doesn't feel like the small town Spider-Man who's got basic resources.
Resort you to exactly what Tony Stark said in Homecoming.
Okay.
If you can't be Spider-Man without the suit, then you don't deserve it.
That's fair. That's a good lesson. That's what I said. It's not a bad.
And that's what that whole movie is about.
which is good. I told you the lesson in Homecoming is good. It really is good. I just wish that they would like further down the road just get rid of the whole like kill modes and all that shit. You can keep Karen, but make her like a Google Assistant.
Well, I mean, he
make her
doesn't
like the
use
Siri.
kill mode. Kill mode is basically just a joke. He's never going to use it.
It's not as bad as people make
Spider-Man
it out
doesn't
to
kill.
be. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but I prefer if it was just a latex suit with maybe a
Like, you
Google
joke
Assistant.
about kill mode, but it was used for like two jokes in the movie.
Why couldn't they make Karen a Google Assistant in his back pocket?
Fucking serious.
All right, and that's where we're in the video, guys.
Because you
That's
don't
all.
have a good conversation with the Google
We're
Assistant.
done. We're done. It's over. It's
Okay.
over. All right, that's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
In the words of our beautiful Lord and Savior Spider-Ham.